Hi everybody. Welcome to another episode of Be Hustle, a place where we discuss B-School competitions and festivals. Today we have with us the winning team of Biz-2-Biz by Advaita 2019. Advaita is a flagship event conducted by ISB every year. Biz-2-Biz, the marketing competition, lies amongst the famous competitions conducted during the two-day event. In an attempt to understand this competition better, we today have Shashank Avasthi, Ankush Kochar, and Sachin Jose Verghese, the students of IIM Bangalore, who bagged the second place in Biz-2-Biz 2019. Let's get a sneak peek of what the competition was all about. Hi team, thank you so much for joining us today. How have you been during the lockdown?
Elena, we've been good, settling into our new roles, after graduating from business school. But it's been it's a new normal that I think everyone's trying to get accustomed to. And Shashank and Sachin will agree that it's definitely not what we expected. But I guess like everyone else, we're trying to make the most of it.
I think we're all trying to make the most of it, trying to learn a few skills here and there and get accustomed to what's been handed over to us. Now, before we begin, I would like you to give us a short introduction and a short description of what Biz-2-Biz competition was all about and what was the structure of the competition.
Yeah, so thanks, Alina, for having us here in this program. And about Biz-2-Biz competition, this was the major marketing event in the flagship Advaita event that was hosted in the ISB Hyderabad campus where we participated last year. So to give a brief idea about maybe the objective of competition, it is to familiarize B-School students with real world business problems. Because in our case, the competition was sponsored by one of the unicorn startups, Udaan, and we had to actually work on a live business case that was given by the company. And we had to present our ideas to actually the Udaan employees themselves who were facing these problems in their day-to-day lives. And to talk about briefly the structure, there were 3 rounds in the competition. The first round was an online quiz, which was based on identifying different brands, their logos, and things like that. So the shortlisted candidates from the online quiz were supposed to get into the case study competition, which was the second round, where we had to give a 2-page proposal on the problem statement that was given by the company, through the ISB host team. So we had again, there was one more round of elimination from the second round. And in the third round, which happened in the campus, we had to present our ideas and proposals to the judging panel, which comprised of, like I said earlier, from employees from Udaan and again, alumni of the college. So that's how the program was structured. Yeah.
It sounds like a very interesting competition, especially the part where you mentioned that you had to identify the logos. I think that must have been very interesting and exciting for all of you.
Yeah, it was. And I think another important thing was that, it was also a race against time because you're competing against a bunch of other teams. And, while people might be able to recognize logos or taglines, you have to do it quicker than the others. So I think it was definitely exciting.
Yeah,
definitely. And how exciting I think it would have been for the entire team to, guess the logos before the other team does. The thrill would have been really amazing.
Yeah, just to add to what Ankush and Sachin said, that but once you're sitting on the laptop and 3 of you are collaborating on one laptop, giving in. So most of us are habitual of giving all these exams ourselves, but first collaborating on one laptop was definitely something that was exciting and a lot of hustle was there.
Just to add, some of these logos were real confusing also, and you didn't even have time to discuss and debate on whose answer was the best. So we had to just go with the guess and then go ahead. Yeah.
Definitely, I can only imagine. Even I get confused a lot of times, and especially the brands that are very similar. It gets very confusing to identify the logos at that time.
That's true. Yeah.
Okay, now let us talk about the importance of a B-School competition. We know that B-School competitions are held by different B-Schools every year, but it's not that much in the limelight and it does not get that spotlight that corporate competition does. So what essentially is different in a B-School competition than that from a corporate competition? What is the difference between the two?
So I'll just take a stab and you can probably add on to it. So what I feel was that this particular bit was mix of both. Like it wasn't a B school only competition because there was a corporate partner attached. So it was kind of an interesting mix. Uh, and we do see a lot of limelight given to the corporate one because the scale at which they are conducted is uh, you know uh, what very different from the scale at which these college competitions are conducted. But given the fact that the scale is smaller, what's different in this B school sort of competition is that feeling of competition between the B school itself, right? We know that IIM and ISB say compete against each other. So there is a very interesting aspect of how different colleges go against each other in and giving winning a competition going into a different homeland altogether is a different sort of feeling for somebody coming from different countries.
For a competition like Advaita, you are basically representing your school. So I think that's kind of what Shashank is also saying, that there's this feeling of representation. There's this inter-college competitive atmosphere. So I think that definitely makes them more fun, even though the scale might be smaller than corporate competitions. But I think that there then is a more sort of say a sense of competition than there would be if you were just if it were just a corporate competition.
I actually agree with all the points that you've mentioned, especially the fact that the competitiveness between the two colleges when it's conducted on campus and how students get to visit another campus because of this. I think it's very interesting. It's a very unique part of it. But this year, I think we are not going to have that thing where the competitions are going to get conducted virtually. People
Virtually.
will have to participate from their homes. So, how different in that regard do you think is Biz-to-Biz competition, if conducted by Advaita, is going to be from that of last year?
I think here the major difference when we talk about a business competition like what Ankush and Shashank is there, you have that feeling of you IMB contingent going there. You have other teams from your own class which are participating in other events there. Then there will be always some sport competitions where you can enter. So whenever you get some free time, you go and check out if there are other competitions happening. So all that fun part of being in a kind of a fair, a big event happening inside the campus that you will miss. I mean, probably in a virtual event, because here you will be having scheduled time slots where you will be presenting to the panel and the results will be announced later. All that thrill what Ankush was saying and the kind of fight between the colleges. So that part could be a little bit missing. But having said that, still that quality of the competition you can still have it. I mean, if planned properly, the whole event can be aligned in a way. Even corporates are getting used to 100% virtual ways of working, right? So these schools should be also prepared to get the same things going on. Yeah.
Definitely. I think we'll all get used to it because all those competitions that were conducted on campus last year are now being conducted virtually, even corporate competitions for that matter. So I think we'll all get used to it and we will learn to ace competitions from our homes.
Yes.
Now let us talk about the prizes that were in store for the participants of Biz-to-Biz last year. What was the prize money or prize pool for the participants or the winners last year, and how does it compare with that of this year?
I think from what I remember, the first
First
position got 50,000
50,000, yeah.
and we
Second
got
was
20.
20,000.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, but I'm not entirely sure what the prizes this year are, but I think cash prizes were definitely an incentive, besides of course the bragging rights. But I don't know what the prizes this year are, so it's hard to say.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. We think that the prize money is almost going to be similar, but what matters most is that you should participate. Participation is what counts.
That's true.
Yeah, I think so. Big part of price is just one of the aspect of getting into all these competitions. One of the big aspects is also learning to you know uh, work with the team, and then the sense of winning that competition itself, and having that news percolate to your college and writing blogs about itself is a bigger part of the remuneration, I would say.
Definitely, I think that's very right. The thrill of participating in the competition, the thrill of waiting for results and seeing other teams participate. When you see others' presentations and how they came up with their idea or solution, I think that is what counts in the end. Your experience matters and gives a lot of learnings. And now that we're talking of learnings, what were your takeaways from the competition?
Yeah. So here, I think one interesting part is that in when you participate in any competition for that matter, it's quite different from you apply the same principles inside a classroom, like whether it's during a case study or during a project, because there you know that you are doing it with an academic interest, and in the end of the day, you will present it to a professor, you get grades, and you move on. But here it's quite different. It's like, you know, it's like a rehearsal to you, the corporate life which you are going to get into few months back, a few months afterwards, right? Because like I said, it's a real world business problem which a company is facing, and the people who are judging you are the guys who are actually working on that problem within their company, so they know much more about that problem, that industry, that function than you know, and they would have thought through many of the solutions which you are going to propose. So it's going to be a very challenging situation, standing in front of them, answering their questions, giving your ideas, and you know how, with how much conviction you're going to present it. So it's a real test of how well you have understood the business scenario, how well you have understood the concepts maybe which you have learned in the classroom, and how practically you can apply them to a real world scenario. So that's the real learning, I think, when you participate in any competitions like this, for that matter.
I think that's very true. I personally feel that these competitions are very important for the overall development, for the holistic development of a B schooler's life, for a B schooler in general, especially when we talk of B school competitions, because they instill within you a capacity to compete between your own classmates, between your own batchmates, and then we talk of other B school students as well. So you get a fair idea of what the other teams are presenting and how the other students from other B schools are presenting. And I think that is what counts in the end.
You know, kind of building on Shashank's answer to one of the previous questions, teamwork is a really important aspect. And I think, especially for this particular competition, Biz-2-Biz, and for others that we as a team participated in, I think one of the really cool takeaways for me was that for each problem that we were presented, the three of us came up with different answers, looking at, you know, different aspects of the same problem. So I think to me that was really interesting that, okay, you know, one of us is looking at the tech part, one of us is looking at, you know, the marketing part, the other is looking at finances, and you know, all this was all just unsaid, but it so happened that, you know, everyone's thinking of things from a different angle. So I think collectively that kind of brought out a very holistic solution each time that we, you know, went ahead with competitions. Having said that, I remember there was one other competition that Shashank and I took part in, and I think we completely missed the point of, you know, what was supposed to be done. So there are cases when, you know, we're looking at things from a different angle. Also, sometimes when you're looking at them from the same angle, you get ratification that, okay, you know, we've gotten the problem right. We know what is being asked of us. Now let's kind of analyze it. So there's a lot of value in the fact that, you know, we worked as a team. And I think that to me was one of the biggest takeaways, biggest learning experiences from all of these competitions.
That's very heartening to hear, especially teamwork. I think it's very important to have a very good team by your side with diverse backgrounds so that they can help you understand what all the case is about and then work on it together.
Yes.
Now let us talk about Advaita 2020. When can we expect an official announcement of Advaita 2020 this year? And what do you think will be new for the participants, apart from the fact that it's going to be a virtual competition?
Okay, so practically, like frankly speaking, we do not represent the college itself. Like Advaita is the flagship event of ISB, so we don't have a lot of insights into what's going to happen this year itself. But I think so the schedule and all would be available online, and I hope they keep the schedule same given the all the situations. But I don't know if you guys want to add something, but I don't think so. We have a
Yeah.
lot of insights into what's going on.
So like Shashank said, I mean, maybe timeline is something which is not very clear. Even the flagship events of IAMB have been delayed. So we expect maybe 1 to 2 months delay, and they may wait and watch how or when can they plan it. But to add on maybe the kind of business problems that students can expect, the new normal scenario, right, that we are in, the COVID, how the new economies are coming up, how new business models are coming up. Maybe that's something you can expect into the problem statement, right? When somebody is designing a problem statement for a competitions like this, they would definitely want to bring in a new element, which is right now happening. So, and it could be from any company, right? So we can't say which industry you can expect a problem from. It depends on who is going to sponsor the event probably this year. So the industry will be that, but more or less, there will be a pattern that follow. The rounds of competitions could be somewhat similar to what we had last year. And the in-campus round, like you said, could be replaced by a virtual round.
The business problems that you've just mentioned about COVID and other things that will be related and will be presented to students this year, that is very important and very crucial for students to understand, because if that case study is not only going to come up in Advaita this year, is going to come up in a lot of competition, in numerous competitions. In fact, even case study even corporate competitions are going to consider giving a case that's based on COVID and related aspects.
True, because that's also something what corporates spend a lot of time thinking on now, right? So
Yes,
when they design
exactly.
a competition, that element will definitely come into, yeah.
Definitely. On a closing note, what is that one piece of advice that you would like to share with the future participants of Biz-2-Biz by Advaita?
I think one would be that, take it on a round to round basis. Don't try to get ahead of yourself. And, again, I'll stick with what I said the last time. Make sure you have a solid, well-rounded team so that you end up, coming up with a complete holistic solution. I think that's what kind of worked for us. I think that's really important.
I mean, definitely team is very important. And once we had that winning successful formula in our team, we stick on to that, right? We know it worked well for us. We knew it. And something I want to add is that spend time on the problem statement as such, right? Something we have seen many teams do a mistake, or maybe we ourselves would have done that earlier, is that we try to jump into the solution because we think that we have a very short time span. And right, I mean, you have only 1 week to prepare. So let's come with the solution and then make up the presentation and let's go for the event. Don't do that. I mean, spend maximum time on the problem statement. Try to understand the industry. Try to speak with people who are in that industry. It could be end consumers. It could be other stakeholders who are there. Then that will refine your thought process. Then come to the solution part, right? Where you apply all your frameworks wherever applicable, bring in different elements, consumer surveys, and all those things.
I'll just add one thing to what both of them said, that do go ahead and participate, right? Because it's not just the prize money, or because my personal learning out of this also has been how I've applied the similar concepts in the interviews itself, right? So many of the interviews which I faced out of the B school, I try to apply the similar principles, and if the formula works, it actually works. So think of the longer term and do participate. I think so. It's very interesting and very exciting.
Most definitely. The first step of reaching success or reaching to the point where you earn the trophy is participation. I think that's very important. And Sachin, the points that you mentioned, and Ankush, the points that you mentioned are very valid too. I think the students are going to get a good insight of Biz-2-Biz 2019, and that will help them participate in this year's competition as well. Thank you so much, team, for being with us today. This was a very nice discussion. I hope this year's B School students get a lot to take away from this video. Thank you so much for being with us. We wish you the best for all your future endeavors. Stay safe, stay home, and take care.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks a lot.